We're live. Welcome back to another stream, everyone. Thank you, as always, for joining me on this deadline stream. It's going to be another great stream, as always. Loads to talk about. Obviously, we've got the James injury. I still need to make my transfer, so I'll be doing that on this stream. We'll also talk about the latest news. We'll do the news roundup. We're going to look at the most transferred in players, most transferred out players, predicted points, clean sheet odds, game goal scorer odds, and loads more. So welcome to the stream, everyone. Hope you're all well. How are we all doing tonight? Looking forward to the game week. I've made a few tweaks to the stream setup as well. So the stream is now even lower latency. I've set it to the lowest setting possible. And basically what that does is it means I'm basically as live as possible with minimal delay. So as soon as I get your questions, I can answer them quickly. And I've also got a new interface for the microphone, so hopefully the microphone sounds good. I've got this little box on my desk now, and it basically processes everything I say into the mic more clearly, so that's exciting as well. And you'll see that and hear that on the videos. So yeah, loads to talk about. Obviously this James injury is an absolute nightmare. Worst possible timing right before a blank game week. So I will be selling him on this stream. I've got James and Fofana flagged, so I'm going to have to sell both of them, which is really annoying because I picked them both up on the wild card for the Wolves at home fixture, and as it happened, neither of them played in Wolves at home. I got 1 point from James and nothing from Fofana. So yeah, a bit unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. That's FPL. So welcome to the stream, Amaretti, Flandy, FCH Sean. He says, how's Teddy? Teddy's good. He's not here at the moment for the stream. You can't see here, obviously, but my bedroom's an absolute mess because I had a bed delivered from IKEA. So I've been setting up the bed, following the instructions, but it's not finished. But Teddy was out because it would be too much of him around as well. Omar says you sound more hydrated. Yeah, today's choice is the Pepsi Max Cherry. That's what I've gone for. I bought a crate of 24, so let's crack that open. Yeah, welcome to the stream, Jake, Nashon, Monkey Man, Yazoo, Kinggrave, Nubify, Michelle, Siraj, Thoughtful Gamer, Mohammed, Kieran. Get all your questions in the chat. We've got loads to talk about. Loads we'll cover. And obviously the big talking point is what to do with Reece James. So let me know in the chat, who do you think the best Reece James replacement is? And then I'll talk about which players I think are the best replacements as well. But I don't want to influence you guys. I'm interested to know who you guys think the best James replacement is, because perhaps there's a player I've overlooked. So let me know in the chat who's the best James replacement, and I'll pick a few out actually, and I'll just talk about, you know, the merits of some of the names you've thrown forward. So I'm seeing Duncan Webster, and I think Duncan Webster are two very good options. You have to say it's a really like uninspiring game week for transfers, isn't it? Because there's no standout James replacement. You know, if there wasn't this blank game week, then you could make the case for the City and Arsenal defenders, but you can't. So Duncan, Webster, I think they're good picks. Webster's 0.1 mil cheaper. He's got more attacking threat this season than Dunk, but not by much. This game week tonight, it's Brighton, and then next week it's Forest at home. So good fixtures for Brighton. Doherty is another one, Josh Jones has said. Doherty I really like. I think he starts this game week as well, so I think Doherty's another really good option to replace James. Obviously, it's just a minutes risk with James. There's every chance that he starts this weekend, and then next week he's benched. Emerson is still serving his suspension, but it could be Perisic and right wing back, for example. Maybe Jed Spence finally gets a chance, but possibly not. Dyer, I think, is a really good option. Veltman's a good option. Estepinian's an interesting one. Obviously, he's more of a minutes risk, but he's got significantly more attacking threat. So I like the Estepinian pick. Koulibaly's a good shout. Again, if we want to stick with the Chelsea defence, there's not many options. Maybe Cucurella, but he's perhaps a bit of a minutes risk. Koulibaly's probably the safest. And of course, there's the Palace defence. So a few people have said Anderson for 0.2 mil cheaper. You could go Guehi. So there's a few options there. Will Pearce says Chilwell. I think Chilwell's a risky one, but again, he's in the same boat as Perisic. They're both the high ceiling picks, but I think for me, I'm already down bad for Game Week 12, so I need players that I can count on to play the 90 in Game Week 12. So I think for me, Chilwell and Perisic are a no-go. You know, I've got Fofana and James to deal with. And then I've got Mitrovic, who's flagged, who we'll talk about shortly. And then we've got Nico, who was benched last match. Came on in the second half for Aurier. Ideal scenario would be Aurier starts this game week, Nico rested, and then Nico starts in game week 12. We'll have to see. Thanks for the donation. I can't even attempt the name, sorry. Trej? Grodem? So I'm going to go for Robertson. Too huge a gamble. It's a massive gamble. I think Robertson's not played for quite a while because he's had the injury and he's not back into the starting 11 yet. I think he was on the bench in the Champions League. I think it's a big risk, and I don't really see the point in the risk this week against City. If you're going to take that risk, then I would say you just stick with James if you can, and then move for Robertson in 12. But I think it's too much of a gamble this week, and there's no way Liverpool keep a clean sheet, in my opinion. They always look like conceding at the moment, so not a big fan of the Robertson pick, to be honest with you. And Tsimikas is capable of rotating there as well. I'm the dude says swap James from -4 or play Rico Henry. Play Henry, 100%. Yeah, I think that's an easy one. You just play Henry there. There's no defenders that you could look at and say, oh yeah, they're going to outscore someone like Henry by 4 points. So I think you just stick with Henry there. We've got another Oscar. Oscar says, Viva the Pepsi Max Cherry. He's currently looking at James to Dunk or Webster. 1 free transfer. I just need to pray Mitrovic and Nico playing Game Week 12. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. I need Mitrovic to play. I need Nico to play because I'm already down to 10 men, even after making transfers. So I'm going to sell James on this stream. He's leaving my team. But yeah, Mitrovic, we really do need to play. I'll do the news round up next. Do you guys want the good news first or the bad news first? Saliba or Trippier? Oh, that's a difficult one. Trippier's got the attacking threat. Saliba's got the better clean sheet odds. I would say Saliba just about there. Omar Tarek says, greeting from Egypt, stay hydrated. Appreciate that, Omar. Thank you for the super chat as well. Definitely going to be. Got a nice Pepsi Max Cherry here to wet my whistle for this stream. Keep the questions coming in. We're going to do the bad news first. Okay, what was the bad news? We'll do the bad news first. So the obvious one that we all are well aware of is the Chelsea news, which is Reece James. And his knee injury is worse than originally expected. And he could even miss the World Cup for England. Awful news. So, yeah, it looks like it's a long-term injury. There was separate reports saying that they're going to have to decide whether to do surgery as well. So, yeah, it's a long-term injury for Reece James. So he's an absolute sell. May not even play before the World Cup. May not even make the World Cup. I hope he does because, you know, in my eyes, he's England's best right-back. And then there is the Fulham news on Mitrovic. And Silva said earlier today, he's getting better. He did the warm-up and the session today. And the session today was more strategy. Today was the first day he was involved with the team after 2 weeks without. We're checking and assessing him. And he says it's still soon and they're going to check later. So, yeah, nothing concrete regarding Mitrovic and whether he's going to play or not. So, yeah, he's a big doubt as well, I would say. But we hope that he is back. You never know. As we said before, he's made of Serbian steel, so hopefully he's back. But let's do the good news next. And there was some murmurs about Haaland, but Pep says that Haaland is fit to face Liverpool, so no concerns there regarding Haaland. There was a couple of murmurs earlier in the week, but no, he's all good. All good for Haaland, and in my case, I've got him captain. Let me know in the chat who you guys have gone with captain, actually. I'm interested to know if anyone's not gone Haaland, and if so, who. And lastly, some good news for Man United is that Martial could return when Man United face Newcastle this weekend. Ten Hag said Martial can be back. We have to wait and see how it develops in the coming hours. So that's positive as well. And that is the news roundup. So yeah, thank you everyone that has tuned in so far. We've got 1,700 tuned in. If you do enjoy these streams, please do hit like on it. I hate to ask, but it makes a big difference for the YouTube algorithm pushing my stream out to others and so on. So thank you all for being here. Joey says, hey Oscar, 1 free transfer and 0.3 in the bank. James, Isak, Mitro, Fofana, all injured. Who to replace? Priority and for who? Priority is James, but really James and Fofana are equal because they're both potentially... Well, Fofana's out till after the World Cup. James might be. So James, purely because he costs more, would be a priority there. And then Fofana. I'm not sure what the latest is on Isaac. Let's have a look what Ben Dinnery's saying on Isaac. Didn't know people still had Isaac, but we found the Isaac owner. Let's see what Ben Dinnery has reported. He says the latest was a week ago. It's probably not been updated. Potential return 23rd of October. So yeah, it sounds like he's still out, but I would say James is definitely priority there. And yeah, it's a bit worrying because Gameweek 12 is, by the way, midweek. Reminder, everyone. So it's going to be a quick turnaround, which means you know, we have to move fast. There's going to be you know, tons of price changes and whatnot, but yeah, it's a Tuesday deadline. So I think James has to be a priority there, and then Fofana. You may end up having to take a -4. Mitrovic, I think you just wait, and Isaac, you just wait and hope. But yeah, because we've got this quick turnaround with the schedule, it means that players who have got even a 1-week injury could mean they miss 3 games. Fofana's out till the World Cup. Yeah, so that's really annoying because I'm going to have to deal with that as well. And it's going to mean I'm almost certainly down to 10 men. I think I actually definitely will be in Gameweek 12. I'm going to sell James on this stream. The 2 players I'm thinking are Dyer and Webster. I think those are really good replacements. But yeah, Fofana's a problem. And then obviously Martinelli, De Bruyne, Haaland and Cancelo all blank in Gameweek 12. So that's an issue as well. I think what I'm going to do is I'll sell James this week, and then in Gameweek 12 I'm going to sell De Bruyne to Salah and then captain Salah. That's my plan. I know Salah's been really underwhelming, but I think it's a logical transfer. I think he is the best captain in Gameweek 12. Maybe you can make the case for someone like Trossard, but I think it's Salah. So that's what I'm thinking. And then obviously it's not a bad fixture after Gameweek 12 either. Liverpool have Nottingham Forest. So I think it's a couple of good fixtures for Liverpool. And then I could potentially sell Salah later on for, I could bring De Bruyne back in, for example. The Flisk says KDB to Salah, now's the time. Thoughts? I'm not convinced now's the time. I mean, De Bruyne, he's returned in his last 4 games against Liverpool. And interestingly, I'll struggle to find the tweet now, but I was having a look at De Bruyne's minutes against Liverpool historically. And in every game Pep's ever managed against Liverpool, he's given De Bruyne the full 90. So that's exactly what you want, especially in a City side, is a player getting the 90. So yeah, it's a good stat. Maybe touch wood that continues, but we'll have to see. But yeah, that's a good stat for De Bruyne owners. So definitely not the week, in my opinion. Obviously, Salah did score a hat-trick in about 6 minutes in the Champions League this week, which is good. Perhaps he's finding some form right before Gameweek 12 when many of us are looking at him. Braven says, how do I have 8 free transfers? That's total transfers. So I've made 8 transfers this season. That'll be 9 after I make one this stream. 132k overall at the moment. I'm happy with that. I think that's a really solid rank this early in the season. So yeah, I'm happy where I am right now. I've only used the wild card. Siraj says Salah fell off. Yeah, I mean his numbers have dropped off significantly since previous seasons, especially last season. But you know, where else do you go? Maybe you could go De Bruyne to Trossard. If Mitrovic is out long term, I could do De Bruyne to Trossard and Mitrovic to Kane, something like that. But yeah, those of you that love FPL, which I think is going to be 99% of you, will be happy to know that it's a packed FPL schedule. So 9 of the next 11 days, there is Premier League football on. The only days there's no Premier League football over the next 11 days is on Monday, and then a week today. So loads of football to come. And also, I quite like it when it's like this, not just because I love football and FPL, but you can move up the ranks fast because the games come fast, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a good spell. I like it when we get into this busy schedule. Zenny says, hey Oscar, just a weekly reminder that you're the GOAT. Cheers. Thank you, Zenny. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. I don't know if I'm the GOAT, but I do appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Soufal replacement. A few people asking about Soufal. If you can afford him, I think Webster's a great option. I can't remember how much Soufal is. He might just be 0.1 or 0.2 mil cheaper than Webster. I think Webster's probably the best if I had to pick one. If not, I think Guehi for 4.3 mil is a player you could definitely get to from Soufal. Those would be my two, Webster or Guehi. Maddison or Zaha, asks Alex. For me, I would say Zaha now. I mean, it's still some good fixtures from Maddison, but I think Zaha takes you all the way to the World Cup, so it's one less position to worry about, whereas Maddison's the next three, and then it's City. Let me know what you guys think about that, though, Maddison or Zaha. It is close. I think Zaha just about edges it for me. Mitro or Tony? Tony all day. Right now, Mitro's a doubt, so we don't know if he's going to actually play or not this weekend, so it has to be Tony. If you guys have any ideas for polls, I'll run some polls in the chat. We've got almost 2,000 tuned in, so it's a good opportunity to ask a live poll with the latest possible answers. Oscar asks, thoughts on one premium draft after Gameweek 12? Yeah, I don't hate it. I think I'm going to maintain two. I think it's easy enough to maintain a 2 premium draft. You know, I've got Cancelo and James. Obviously, James I'm going to sell, Trippier. So I've got some big hitters in defence, but I'm still comfortably able to fit in 2 premiums. I'm probably going to do De Bruyne to Salah in Game Week 12. And I still think the rest of my team's in good shape, and I'm hitting all the sorts of players I want to hit. So I don't think it's totally necessarily myself. So it's not for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if it works at all. Don't be afraid to try it. Obviously, we saw the former number 1. I think he's dropped to about number 4 now. He came on my channel, Christian, a few weeks ago, and he got to number 1 with 4 premiums in his team. So, you know, clearly there's no right or wrong way to play the game. He got to number 1 in the world with 4 premiums. I've got half as many, and I wouldn't even consider 3 myself, but yeah, shows what I know. Zoltan says, Oscar, top 3 budget defenders, please. Depends how budget you mean. I would say Webster, Dunk, Kilman, and Guehi, and Anderson. A few questions about Doherty. The concern with Doherty is his minutes. I think he plays this weekend. So this weekend, he's an exceptional pick. It's just Game Week 12 is a concern. Does he play in Game Week 12 as well? Because a reminder, Game Week 12 is on Tuesday. I don't think it is for Spurs, actually. So perhaps there's a chance, but it's a quick turnaround. We've got weekend football, then midweek football, and then weekend football. So, as we were saying just now, there's 9 of the next 11 days, including today, have got Premier League football. So it's a busy schedule. So does Doherty play in 12 when we actually really need players to play the most, right? Because if he misses out in 12, then I think pretty much all of us are down to bare bones, unless you plan to free hit. So yeah, my transfer plans, for those asking, I'm going to sell James on this stream. It's probably going to be Dyer, Eric Dyer, that comes in for me. That's my planned transfer. What do you guys think of Dyer? I'll talk more about Dyer later when I make the transfer, but he's probably going to be the one for me. Kane versus Haaland captain. That's a really good one. Let's do a poll on that. Oh, they've changed the layout. Engage with your audience. Why have they changed it like this? Hang on. Start a Q&A. What's this? Just want to do a poll. Should it be who's the better captain or who's your captain? We'll do who's your captain. Who's your captain for Game Week 11? So the first option is Haaland. Second is Kane. I'll add an option for Son. And then maybe a 4th for other. Message in chat. Boom. So the poll is with you now. Get your votes in. Who is your captain for Game Week 11? So yeah, I'm on Haaland. If I had Kane, I think I'd be tempted. I think Kane's a genuinely good option. And I'd say he's equally good to Haaland this week. So, depending on what kind of manager you are, you could make the case for Kane instead of Haaland if you got him. I think there's 2 types of managers. If you've got 2 options in your team that you think are equally good, and one is obviously lesser owned. If you're an upside chaser, then you captain the lesser owned player, right? Because there's more to be gained if it comes off. But if you're a safe manager, which I would say I am personally, then if there's two options that look equal, like Kane and Haaland, then you go for the higher owned one, which is Haaland. So that's that's what I would do, even if I had Kane. But I think Kane's a really good option. I really do. Nick says, good evening. Would you do James and Mitrovic to Doherty and Kane from -4? I'm wildcarding in Gameweek 13. Thank you. Keep up the good content. Thank you, Nick, for that. I don't think I would do it. We've been talking about Doherty a bit, and the problem is we just don't know 100% that he starts in Gameweek 12. I think he starts this weekend because Emerson started in the Champions League, and Emerson is still suspended. But there is that potential for Perisic to play in right wing back. So it just feels like a bit of a risky one. And really, we want players guaranteed to play in Game Week 12 because we're all in a difficult position where most of us have got triple City. Nearly all of us have got at least one Arsenal player, some more. So can we afford to take risks on players like Doherty? I think it's an excellent pick for this weekend. It's just longer term is the concern, right? But yeah, if you want to chase a big upside pick, then Doherty's your one. I think he's the biggest upside defender in the game this week. But you just have to accept that there is that big minutes risk. And obviously Kane's an excellent option as well. It's a good line of thinking that you're there, because Mitrovic is a doubt and James is out. So I like both of those picks. Difficult to justify for a -4 though, with the minutes risk. Chat is so delayed. Doesn't look that bad. I've just seen it on the stream next to where you've actually said it. I think it's only like 10 seconds behind. I think also chat's moving so fast. Perhaps that's why. Tony or Wilson? I think I would go Tony because he's a lot more reliable. You know, Wilson's such a injury-prone player that I tend to just swerve those kinds of players. But I say that, I did tweet early this week that Wilson actually has the best XG per shot in the league this season, with 0.23 XG per shot. And then it was Haaland and Jesus with 0.2 XG per shot. So I think Wilson's a good pick. I just don't like how much of an injury-prone player he is. So that's why I'd pick Tony myself. Mr. P says, best punts for people wildcarding in Game Week 13. Keep up the great content. Well, Doherty is one of those, right? I think he's an extremely high upside pick for this weekend. And Conte was singing his praises in his press conference. So I think Doherty's a really exciting pick. But I think he's also a big minutes risk. Who else is there? I think Maddison, if you don't have Maddison, he's still relatively low owned. You know, he's got 2 home fixtures before Game Week 13. Under 20% owned. Crystal Palace at home, Leeds at home. I think he's a good punt if you don't have him. There's really not many. That's the problem. The next 2 fixtures aren't that great. If Mitrovic was, if we knew that he was fine, then I would say Mitrovic 100%. But he's a doubt as well. There's really not many others. Maybe Trippier, but he's so highly owned. Let me know in chat if you can think of any others. Because obviously when we're talking about punts, we've ruled out Arsenal and Man City here. So it really narrows down the player pool, right? JT says Trossard or Bowen this week. I think Trossard, just about Trossard. I really like the look of Trossard's Game Week 12 fixture as well. Home to Nottingham Forest. But they're also very different price points. So Trossard gives you so much spare cash to do a lot. But it does look like Bowen's finally starting to find the form of last season as well. So yeah, Bowen's an excellent pick. 2 good players you've listed there. I think Trossard just about edges it. Johnny or Kilman? I would say Kilman. It's just not clear if Johnny's going to play all games. Semedo's back from injury. He's been playing well. They've got Aït-Nouri he plays as well. So there's not necessarily a spot for Johnny. Maybe he continues playing and Aït-Nouri just doesn't start any. But Kilman's the safe one. So I would say Kilman. I did look at Kilman actually as a potential James replacement. So let's have a look at the most transfer players heading into Game Week 11. These are live numbers. So the most transferred in player is actually Phil Foden. What do you guys think about this one? I'm really surprised to see Foden top. Maybe these are managers that aren't aware that Foden's got a blank coming up. Liverpool away, and then it's a blank game week 12. Trossard's in second, which I agree with that one. Trippier, unsurprisingly. Cancelo, obviously the back of an 18-pointer, but yeah, I'm surprised to see so many Arsenal and City players so high up. Perhaps these are less engaged managers that you could arguably look at this and say, if you are a manager that isn't bringing in these players, then there's a lot of managers here that you're going to overtake in the next 2 game weeks, because these managers are going to get to game week 12 and they've got Martinelli, Saliba, Foden, Cancelo, Saka, all these players they've brought in blanking. Most transferred out is Luis Diaz and Trent, obviously both injured. James is in third, so no surprises. Salah's another one. I'm not sure if I would be selling Salah at this point. I know he's been so frustrating, but I don't think I'd be selling him if I had him. I think I would just ride it out. Mitrovic, obviously no surprises there. Bernardo, Gross. De Bruyne, interesting to see De Bruyne up there. Interesting to see Perisic as well. Super chat from Alex. He says, "Hey Wango, I wanted to bring in a Palace defender in game week 12. Do I do it this game week or go for Dyer Castagna instead? Start Mitro or Andreas too. Thanks, Ding Dong." So I think I'd go for Dyer. I think Dyer might actually be the best James replacement, which is a bit crazy. He is my planned transfer. I'm going to sell James for Dyer, unless we get any other last minute news, but I don't think so. So yeah, it's going to be James to Dyer for me. So I think he's the best option. We'll have a look at the clean sheet odds in a minute, and Spurs are joint top on the clean sheet odds as well. So that's something that's in Dyer's favour as well. Don't know if there's much in this, but I noticed I was digging through the stats earlier, and Everton have lost the second most aerial duels this season. So perhaps if we're really lucky, Dyer's on the end of a set piece that a corner or a free kick, but we'll see. But no, I think Dyer's probably the best one. I can understand the Palace picks because they've got good long-term fixtures, but I think it'd be Dyer out of those. Hope that helps. So the captain poll: Haaland 84%, Kane 9%, Son 3%, and other 3%. Thank you all for getting your votes in. Appreciate that. I think I'm all caught up in chat. Good stream so far. I hope you've all enjoyed it. The first half hour's flown by. If you have enjoyed it, do hit like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Appreciate you all tuning in as always. Good to have you. And it's going to be a hectic schedule. As we were saying earlier, there's football for 9 of the next 11 days. So this is going to be it's going to be really challenging to keep up with the upload schedule, because normally I do 4 videos per game week, and this game week finishes on Sunday, I think. Yeah, finish it on Sunday, and then the next game week's on Tuesday. And normally I do 4 videos per game week, but I'm going to keep up with it. I got you covered, guys. Just make sure you subscribe for that. Stefan, thank you for the donation as well. There's no message with that one, but I appreciate that. Is Mitrovic fit or not? He's a doubt. We don't know 100%. I'll leave this on screen so you can give that a quick read. Thoughts on Romero for James? Yeah, I like Romero as well. I like Dyer even more. Romero tends to get yellow cards, so I like Dyer more. Dyer's actually scored a couple of goals this season, so it's Dyer for me. Most guaranteed in the Chelsea defence? Probably Koulibaly. Perisic or Dyer? I think Dyer. Guehi or Mitchell? Guehi. Rodrigo. I hadn't considered Rodrigo. If I was making a midfield transfer, I'd put Maddison and Zaha ahead of Rodrigo. Yeah, I've not actually looked at Rodrigo since he got back from that dislocated shoulder. Obviously, he was absolutely flying before the injury. I don't know how he's been doing since, but who have Leeds got? Oh, it's Arsenal. No, I wouldn't bring on Rodrigo. Not this week. I think Arsenal's going to be a tough game for Leeds, so I don't think this is the week to get Rodrigo. Thoughts on Kilman? Yeah, I like the Kilman pick. I think he's a good pick. Nottingham Forest this game week. Good fixture. trying to remember who they've got in Game Week 12 now. But yeah, the next 3 are okay. And this is one thing that we need to remember when we're looking at James replacements. If we look at players like Webster and Dunk, the next 2 are good fixtures, but then in Game Week... Let me see if I can pull up the ticker here. See if this works. So yeah, if we look at James replacements, right? Webster and Dunk are really good picks. The next 2, Brentford and Forest, not bad at all. But Game Week 13 and 14, it's City and Chelsea. So we have to remember that, because you don't want to get to Game Week 13 and suddenly you're forced to start Dunk or Webster against City away. Because there's no chance, I would say, they keep a clean sheet there. So that is one thing that works in Kilman's favour. It's Forest at home this week. Palace away, pretty tough game. Leicester at home, average fixture, I would say. But at least there's a chance of a clean sheet here. Whereas Brighton away to City, there's no chance at all, right? And this is, for me, why Dyer just about edges it for me. First of all, they're top on the clean sheet odds this week. Everton at home. Man United away, not a great fixture. But Newcastle at home, there's definitely clean sheet potential there as well. So, yeah, Dyer is going to be my James replacement. I'll make that move shortly. Jesus or Mitro. If that's who to start, then Jesus all day. Jesus is fully fit and available. Mitro's a doubt. I wouldn't be bringing either player in. Wouldn't be bringing Xhaka in either. Reminder that Arsenal and Man City blank in Game Week 12, so I wouldn't be bringing either of those players in. Stefan says, KDB out, Son in this game week and Foden after the blank. Before the James injury, I did look at Son in for KDB and I decided I wasn't going to do it. I can understand it if you've got 2 transfers, but I'm not sure if I'd do it if I had 1. It's a bit of a luxury move. I decided against it personally. You know, Liverpool just in awful form defensively. They're not having any trouble scoring goals, but they're just so leaky this season. I think I read that they've conceded the joint biggest chances with Forest. Or maybe it was they've conceded as many as Forest. So, yeah, I imagine that City put a few past them, and De Bruyne stands a really good chance of being involved. I can understand the temptation with Son, though, because he is banging form. Looked good again in the Champions League. Scored. I think he assisted as well. Yeah, I decided it wasn't a move I'm going to make, but I can understand the temptation. And then Foden after the blank, yeah, makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, if you're going to do that move, then you have to get Son this week, really, to fully capitalise on the fixtures. And then Foden makes sense, because in a way, you're inadvertently downgrading De Bruyne to Foden after the blank. Yeah, I looked at that route. I decided against it. I'm going De Bruyne to Salah in 12, almost certainly. But I can understand it. And I'm going to captain Salah in Game Week 12. That's my planned route with De Bruyne instead of Son. Pope or Ward? Yeah, let's have a look at the clean sheet odds. So, in fact, that's a good point. I'm going to start Everson. Let's give Everson the nod. Let me save that. Save your team. Where are they? There they are. This is all fair. I'm blocking off some of this, to be fair. So, sorry about that. These are the Game Week 11 clean sheet odds. Yeah, as we were saying earlier, Spurs and Wolves, joint top. These odds are from checkthechance.com, by the way. So what are we talking about? Ward and Pope, right? So yeah, Leicester, 28% chance of keeping a clean sheet this weekend. Newcastle, 17% chance. So if you want to play the numbers, then Leicester are 11% likelier to keep a clean sheet. Realistically, they may both concede. But yeah, I'm starting Everson this week for that reason. Everson gets the nod for me. Oblivious says, why not go for another Chelsea defender over Dyer for James? I did consider that, but no one really leapt out. Koulibaly probably the best option, but he's like 5.5 mil. You know, and he's missed a couple of games here and there, so I feel like it's probably just not worth it. I think I'd rather just go with Dyer. Maybe you could say Cucurella, but you know, is he a minute's risk? Chilwell, he's a minute's risk. So I did consider that, and I can understand the temptation, but I'm wondering how Chelsea will even line up. Who's going to play right wing back? Will it be Loftus-Cheek? Or Azpilicueta maybe? Start Zuma or Trippier. I think Zuma's a doubt, isn't he? I'm sure I heard that he was ill or something. Zuma. This is the latest from PremierInjuries.com. Really handy website, by the way, for just for tracking player injuries and what's going on at each team. But in terms of West Ham, they've actually got a lot of injuries here. But Zuma, illness, the update was from today. Attorney's a little better. Kurt has had the sniffles, so we need to see how they are. Hopefully they have a chance. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would start Zuma. I think I would just give Trippier the nod there. Dyer or Perisic? Dyer, in my opinion. I think Perisic is obviously the higher upside pick. Got the attacking threat, but right now the transfers we're making, we need to think about Gameweek 12 as well as 11, and we need players that we can count on to start for us in Gameweek 12, right? And could you honestly say I can count on Perisic to start in Gameweek 12? You're leaving it up to chance, basically. Jotaro says, do I start Almiron or Mitrovic? I think I start Mitrovic, because if he is fine, then I think he starts. Obviously he starts. I don't think he makes a cameo. I think he plays or not at all, so I think Mitrovic. Almiron first on bench. Mitro not starting confirmed. Where's that come from? But yeah, we do need Mitrovic back. The problem is as well, we're saying the schedule's so busy right now that, you know, it's the 15th and then it's the 20th. Luckily it's Thursday, which perhaps works in Mitrovic's favour if he does miss out against Bournemouth. It is a shame if he does miss Bournemouth because that's a really good fixture, I would say. But Villa's not bad either. Better fixtures, Bowen or Sterling? I'd probably say Sterling, but it's a bit worrying that I think he was benched and didn't even play last match, right? That's worrying for how much he costs. I'd say that's very concerning and enough to put me off him completely. Rubek says Sterling is a trap. Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's just it's too much to spend on a player that's just been benched and didn't even come off the bench. Ralph says, any transfer plans? Yeah, my transfer is, I'm going to sell James. I mean, James and Fofana, both red flagged. They're both probably going to be out for the same amount of time, but James costs more, so I'm going to prioritise him. So James to Dyer is probably going to be my transfer. And then I think in Game Week, I'm just going to pull up the ticker from Game Week 13. Oh, in fact, it's Game Week 13, that's useless. Where was the ticker? Yeah, Game Week 12. Yeah, I think in Game Week 12, I'm going to do De Bruyne to Salah, and then I'll captain him home to West Ham. And then I like the look of Game Week 13 as well, Salah against Forest. I know Salah's been really disappointing, but he did just score a 6-minute hat-trick in the Champions League. So that is a confidence booster, whatever way you shape it. And then it's Leeds at home in Game Week 14 as well. So 3 decent fixtures, and then there is the option to move Salah back to De Bruyne for the final 3. Which is for City, it's Fulham at home, Brentford at home, Leeds away. 3 incredible fixtures. You definitely want to have triple City for that fixture run. So that's my loose plan. I'll make that transfer in a minute and then I'll tweet it and so on. As always, guys, take a photo of wherever you're watching from around the world. Tag me in it on Twitter and I will retweet it. I'll love to see the photos of where you guys are tuning in from. Friendly Bane says, KDB and Mitrovic out, Bowen and Kane in from -8. Should I? No, definitely not. Not from -8. I think selling De Bruyne from -8 has got potential to go horribly wrong. Historically, City v Liverpool has always been a high-scoring game. I'll see if I can just bring up past results while I'm talking. Historically, it's a very high-scoring game, so I don't think I would be selling De Bruyne at all right now. And then add to that the fact that Liverpool aren't even looking good defensively. It just seems like an absolute no-go to me to sell De Bruyne, let alone as part of a -8. Here we go, got it. So this is their head-to-head historically. The last encounter was 3-1 to Liverpool, and then it was 3-2 to Liverpool in the FA Cup. They had a 2-2, another 2-2, 4-1, So, I mean, there's not a single clean sheet in the last 5 times they've met one another in all competitions. So, yeah, I wouldn't be selling De Bruyne this week myself, let alone for a -8. Hope that helps. Welbeck for Mitro, asks Amam. It's not a bad shout, you know. I mean, it's 2 good fixtures for Brighton, so I don't hate it. Welbeck's one of those players that at the back of my head I've always written off as someone that I just won't go for because he's always been so injury prone. However, he has managed to go this far this season without getting injured at all, which is promising. How much is he? Is he like 6.7? I think I'd rather save the mil and go for Solanke, but it is a difficult one because I do like the Welbeck pick. Yeah, I wouldn't want to recommend against that. I think that's a good pick. If your gut feel says go for Welbeck, then I wouldn't want to suggest against that. He's not a player that I'm looking at personally. I think I'd rather go for Solanke, but I don't hate the Welbeck pick. Thank you, Jason and Michael Duffy, for becoming fplfocal members. I was almost at the same time. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael, and thanks, Jason. Appreciate the support. That means a lot. Thank you. If anyone is interested in becoming a member, it does include some perks like early access to my videos. There's a private channel on the Discord where I'm online chatting every day. You get a badge by your name in chat and in my comments and so on. So yeah, if you're interested, it's the join button below the stream, or there's links in the description to become a member. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Who am I going to replace James with? Dyer is the plan. Dunk or Dyer, asks Sir Greg. I think Dyer, but I think Dunk's a good option. I think Webster's a good option. Let's have a look at the Kings of the Gameweek next. Get your guesses in the chat. Who is the next King going to be? It was Cancelo last Gameweek after his 18-pointer. We've had 3 City assets now. Haaland twice. Guesses in the chat. Who's the next King going to be? Mitrovic or Rashford to start, asks Michael. I would say Rashford. As far as I'm aware, Rashford is absolutely fine, whereas Mitrovic is a doubt, so I would say Rashford definitely. Sultan says Scamacha. Joel says Ward. If Ward gets it twice... Tilak says Salah. Ash says Son. Theo says Kane. Matt says Kane as well. Quite a few Kanes in the chat. Bowen. Allison says James. Allison. He'll have to make about 20 saves against City to get it. St. Maximan says Pete. Doherty says Ragnarok. Love the Doherty shout. Yeah, it could be Doherty. Scamacha, Son. Matty Cash. 100% Zaha says AB. I hope it's Zaha, as a Zaha owner myself. Eslam also says Zaha. So what have we had? We've had 2 Arsenal so far. We've had 3 City. 1 Spurs, 1 United, 1 Newcastle. And in Game Week 7 we gave to Ward, but that was when the entire league was postponed. Just feels right to give it to Ward, doesn't it? Son, Fred. Oh yeah, almost forgot. So, thanks to you guys for all the subscriptions. I hit 100,000 and I've now got 2 play buttons, not 1. The first one arrived with a little bit of a dent in it, so I sent them an email just to say it's got a dent in it, and they were like, no problem. No problem, fplfocal. We'll send you another one. So now I've got 2 play buttons on my shelf. And I've also got a screenshot framed of when I was #1 in the world. So yeah, the shelf is complete now. I need to think about what I'm going to do with the second one, because I don't think there's any point having 2 on the shelf. But yeah, thank you guys for getting me to 100k. It's crazy. That was only like, what, a month or 2 months ago, and already we're at 122k. Channel's growing at an unbelievable rate. So thank you for that, guys. Mikhail says, I've got Dunk, Zuma, Trippier, James, and Nico. Should I spend a free transfer on James to Dyer or roll? I've got Madison, 4Y. What's 4Y? And Mitro. Only Martinelli and Haaland the blanks. So Dunk, Zuma, Trippier, James. Yeah, I'd sell James. Zuma's a doubt. That's the problem. He's got an illness. Nico was benched last game, so he's a doubt. Can we trust him to start again? Probably not. Ideally, He's benched this week and then starts in Game Week 12 in terms of from my selfish perspective, because I need him in Game Week 12. Otherwise, I will be down very bad. So yeah, I'd sell James. I'd get rid of him now, just for that insurance, right? Otherwise, you're leaving yourself in a position where you could have Zuma out, could have Nico out. Thank you, Delboy Tokyo, for becoming an fplfocal member as well. Love the ease name, Delboy Tokyo. Appreciate that. I just breathed a fly up my nose as I said that. Don't know if I just swallowed a fly up my nose. I'm going to wash it down with some Pepsi Max. Bit of protein during the stream. Share your final selection, bro. Alright. I'm going to make my transfer. What was it? It was James to Dyer. That's the plan. So let's do that now. God, it's awful. A couple of red flags, a yellow flag. So it's James to Dyer. That's my planned transfer. Make transfer. Let me just double check actually. There's no last minute news or anything I've missed. Just to be extra safe. 2 seconds. But yeah, my plan is to go for Dyer, and I'll explain why in a second. Bear with me one moment while I make sure I'm all good. Looks good there. Looks good there. Alright, make transfers. James to Dyer. Confirm transfers. Right, does that fit on screen, or is it like that? There we go. There we go. So transfer done. That's it. James to Dyer. Now I'm going to take a screenshot of that and tweet it. Make sure you like my tweet. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at fplfocal. I'm also at fplfocal on Instagram for those that have that. There we go. So let's tweet that. Drop a comment in reply to the tweet saying I'm here from the stream. So what is it? Gameweek11. Lock James to Dyer. Arrow. James to Dyer. Rank. What rank am I? 132k. My god, chat's going crazy. 2 seconds, guys. Gameweek 11. James to Dyer. Rank 132k. Benches in the right order. Andreas. Nico. Iverson gets the nod. And back to the stream. Right, where did we get to? Thank you, Aman Dudeja, for becoming an fplfocal member as well. And quite a few members joined this stream. Appreciate you all becoming members. It does mean a lot, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you for all your support. Andreas says, bench Andreas or Robertson. I would bench Robertson, 100%. 100% Robertson. I think Andreas is okay to start this week. You could even make the case for just benching Mitrovic entirely, but no, I think you definitely bench Robertson. He may not... Oh, what have I just clicked? How have I done that? Have I just given myself a super chat? Oh, I've just spent £2 super chatting myself. Oh, no, I didn't. Complete your purchase. What? Right. Okay, let's carry on. Where did we get to? Firmino or Tony? Tony. Joe Gomez. Gomez is a very short-term pick, I would say. Obviously, he's going to be starting in right back in Trent's absence. Konate should play centre-back. Matip's a doubt. I don't think I'd go for Gomez, though. Maybe you can make the case for Game Week 12 and 13 if you plan to wildcard straight afterwards. Thank you, Harry Feldman, for becoming a member as well. I recognise your name. Did you chat at the very start of the stream or say something? Maybe before the stream started. I'm normally quite good at people's names in chat and comments and so on. I start to recognise people that leave repeat comments and chats and so on. Is Mitrovic long term? No, he's not. Could even be back this weekend, but not necessarily. Oh yeah, why Dyer? I was going to explain why Dyer. So I looked at... I think if I pull up the fixture ticker, it might help me with this as well. I'll pull up the fixture ticker and just talk about the Dyer pick. In fact, I can just do it underneath the players. So I looked at Webster and Dunk, right? And the problem is that in Game Week 13 and 14, they've got City and Chelsea, I think it is. So 2 really bad fixtures. And in my case, I've got Nico, who's got Liverpool in 13. I've got Fofana, who's a problem. So I need Trippier, I need Cancelo, and then I needed a defender I bring in now that I can start in 13 as well. It's not an amazing fixture, but I'm happy to play Dyer at home to Newcastle in 13. So that's why I went for him. The only other player I considered was Kilman, who I think has Leicester at home in 13, which isn't too bad. But I'm quite happy with the Dyer pick. The fixtures aren't too bad all the way to the World Cup. They finished with Leeds at home right before the World Cup. So yeah, that's why I went for Dyer. Oh, were you, Harry? Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so it's Dyer in. That's the plan. Rank 132k at the moment. Very happy with that at this point in the season. What rank are you guys? Let me know your ranks in the chat. Honest ranks. I don't want to hear these on 3rd overall or whatever. Unless you really are 3rd overall, then fair play. Let me know your ranks in the chat. Let me just scroll back up. I missed a super chat from Jack, I think it was. It's gone off the screen, Jack. Send it again. I'm going to struggle to see Jack's message now amongst all the ranks. Oh my god. 73k, 2k, 1.4 mil, 2.2 mil, 67k, 380k, 5k, 392k, 5.7k, 2k. That's really impressive. 2k already. Right, trying to spot Jack's message. Send it again, Jack. I've got you on Control F, Jack. I will find this super chat. This will not go unanswered. 9 mil. 9 mil? 45k. Did you just start did you start a game week late or something? Jack Milner, we are summoning you to repeat your super chat. Don't actually super chat again. Just ask it in the chat, and I'll look out for it. Chat's moving so fast it went off the screen, but I'm looking out for your message. Sorry, I missed that. Should I start Mitrovic or Tony? Asked Luca. Start Tony. AB says Control F developer vibes, 100%. Do you guys want to see the mess that goes on behind this stream layout? Let me find it. Look. So you see like this whole stream layout, it looks different. It's got like the fplfocal background, the bench looks a bit different. I've like redesigned it so that it's wider and so on, but hang on, let me pull this up on screen. Look at the state of this. I wrote all this to make the stream layout look better for you guys on the streams. So it just looks like a load of another language, but as a result you get this nice clean look out on the stream. Anyway, did Jack get his super chat in or not? That is the question. Jack, where are you? He needs a James replacement, and he has Perisic, Trippier, Cancelo and Emerson. Need a defender for 4.5 mil. So you got Trippier, Cancelo, got Perisic. So I would say Webster. Webster's the one to go for there. Next two are good for Brighton. You've got Perisic, Trippier, Cancelo that you can start in 13, so you're okay there. So I would say Webster, Jack. Yeah, I've got a degree in computing. Literally, I went to uni, right? I spent 3 years. I got a Bachelor of Science in Computing, worked in IT for 7 years, started up a YouTube channel just as like a hobby. I was like, why not? I love FPL anyway. What's the worst that could happen? No one tunes in. One person tuned into my first ever stream. Some of you know him, Adam. But yeah, about a year and a half later, here I am. Super chat from Lupo, appreciate that. He says, I've got Maddison, Rashi and Son, but I want to get Trossard this week. Wilson's the only attacker I'd get rid of. So -4, Son to Trossard, and CW to Kane. CW, Callum Wilson. Or Wilson to Edouard and Rashi to Trossard, or no hit, Maddison to Tross. I don't think you need to make the transfer, Lupo. I'm not seeing the urgency to get Trossard in. There's no way in a million years I'd sell Son before Everton at home to get Trossard. And there's no way I would... I can understand going Wilson to Kane if you can afford that in one, but I wouldn't do it as 2 moves for a -4. If I had to pick one of those, it would be Maddison to Trossard. There's no need to take a hit this week. What have I just been tagged in? Yeah, I would do Maddison to Trossard. That's it. That's all I would do. But I don't think you need to make that move either. Maddison's got 2 home games, so I'm not seeing the urgency to go from Maddison to Trossard. Maybe in game week 12 instead, because Trossard's home to Forest then. But this week, I don't think you need to make that move. Let's have a look at the predicted points for game week 11, which are as follows. So this is from FPL Review. They've got Haaland top with 6.5 projected points. Son's in second, interestingly, 5.8. Kane's in third, 5.7. Not much in it. Saka's in there. That's been my one bad transfer this season, actually. Selling Saka for Zaha, which I'll take, to be fair. If I'm making one bad transfer every, 10 or so game weeks, then I'll be happy with that. I don't think I'll be able to keep that going. But yeah, that was a bad transfer as it played out, because he obviously scored 2 against Liverpool. At least Zaha didn't blank, could have been worse. Jesus is up there. Martinelli, De Bruyne, Maddison, Bruno, Bowen and Zaha. Foden narrowly missed out on the projections, for those that are wondering. I think he had about 4.1 or so projected points this game week. Keep your questions coming in. We've got about half an hour till the deadline, so I'll do my best to answer as many more questions as possible. We'll have a look at the scout selection next, because this is the team that the scout pick each game week that they think will score the highest, and they've gone for Sarr in goal, back 3 of Dyer. Oh, they went for Dyer. I didn't even realise that. They better not curse my Dyer. Hopefully this is the scout blessing. The scout's actually been doing well this season, I have to say. Last season they were all over the place. Maybe they hired a guy who exclusively does the scouts picks. Dyer, Kukurea, Gabriel. They've got Son, Maddison, Foden, Bowen and Zaha, midfield 5. And then front 2 of Haaland, captain and Tony. What do you guys think? What do you think of the scout selection this game week? Haaland or Son captain? I think Haaland's the best captain myself. Raptors going for Dunk. Oh, interesting. Fair enough. Raptors in a very good position. I think his only problem is James, and I think he's got 2 transfers. 5 of my 10 transfers this season have been injuries, which is obviously it's part of the game, injuries, but that's quite unlucky for half of my transfers to be spent on injured players. That's after I sell James and Fofana. So yeah, a bit ridiculous that. But that's the way it goes. Sometimes you get on a lucky run where you swerve all the injuries, or if you're unlucky, you can pick up lots of injuries. But yeah, Raptors absolutely killing it. I saw Stormzy followed him today. Unbelievable, Stormzy. And he sent him a voice note in DMs. I heard the voice note, actually. I was really inspired, actually. It was a really nice message Stormzy sent him. Really surprising. It was very unusual hearing Stormzy's talk about FPL. Trippier or Dunk to start? I think Trippier, just about Trippier. Thoughts on Firmino? Not for me. I know Diaz is up, but I still think I think I'd swerve. Because they've got Nunez that can play up top. They've got Jota who can play left wing, Salah right wing. Maybe Klopp persists with this formation where all 4 can be involved, but who knows? Don't think I would go there myself. I know he's smashing it though. JM says, quality content. James for Webster or Dunk, and then Emerson for Kilman to beat a price rise. We'll use these players when I bench my City and Arsenal players next week. If you've got 2 free transfers, then yeah, I don't mind that at all. But just double check if you actually need to make the second transfer or not this week. Because if you don't need to make the second transfer, then I wouldn't make the second one. Who would I move for first though? Maybe Kilman, because he's home to Forest. But yeah, I like both those moves. I think Kilman and Webster and Dunk are some of the best James replacements. Dyer's another one. I prefer Webster to Dunk, 0.1 mil cheaper, and his attacking numbers are slightly better this season. Not much in it realistically. Dunk could do better, but 0.1 mil cheaper, slightly better numbers. So Webster for me, and Kilman's a good option as well. Yeah, if you can afford that, then I would do that definitely. It's a shame Emerson didn't establish himself in the starting 11, because 4 mil is a great price, and really there's a lack of 4 mil defenders. Nico looked like the chosen one, but it's not played out that way. Tafich says, thanks for the content. Thanks for watching my content. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you do enjoy the stream, or have enjoyed the stream, then hit like on it. We've got 660 likes. Can we get to 1k likes? If everyone hits like right now, I reckon we can blow past 800. So everyone pause what you're doing, hit like, and then come back to the stream. Subscribe if you're not already. And a reminder, as always, to check your bench. Bench is very, very important and often overlooked. You know, if we look at last game week, I put Andreas first on my bench ahead of Nico. I know some people had Nico first on bench. And that was like a 5-point swing, I think, because Andreas scored. Shame he got booked, by the way, and gave away a penalty, because he could have been on for some serious bonus on top of that. But yeah, a reminder to check your bench as well, guys. 850, that flew up. I lowballed it. Why Eric Dyer? Spurs are top of the clean sheet odds this game week, for one thing, and it's not a bad fixture in game week 13 as well. Home to Newcastle. I wanted someone like Webster or Dunk, but in 13 they've got City away. So yeah, I'm just backing the clean sheet odds really, and I think he's not a bad option at all. 5.2 is a little bit pricey for what he offers, but yeah, I think he's not a bad shout. Doherty is the really high upside pick, but we just don't know whether he's going to start the next two, and we need our players to start in game week 12. Alan says, I've got Isaac, Royal and James. All of them won't be available. Who do you think I take out and the best replacement? I think I would do Isaac to Tony, James to Dyer. Probably make those two moves. Tony at home tonight. It's nice as well when you've got a player in the first fixture of the game week, right? You know, I'm looking forward to getting to watch Tony tonight. Not expecting too much, but yeah, I think Tony. I mean, look at those next 5. It's not bad. Brighton, Chelsea. Chelsea's not great, but, you know, they're missing a few players. Villa, Wolves, Forest. So I would do Isaac to Tony and then probably James to Dyer if you aren't tripled up on Spurs already. Dex says, KDB out to Son or Trossard or keep. Got the wild card. I think I'd keep him. I mean, we did see on the projected points that Son is actually projected to score higher than De Bruyne. 5.8 projected points for Son, 4.6 for De Bruyne, but De Bruyne's been phenomenal. He's blanked in 1 start all season, and they're playing against Liverpool, who look as leaky as I can remember them being for a long, long time. So, in fact, the last time Liverpool looked this leaky was when they had that injury crisis in defence, when they had everyone out, and there was games where it was like Philip and Reece Williams starting centre-back. But yeah, I did look at De Bruyne to Son, but decided against it myself. And Trossard, I think I would leave that move for next week. I think Trossard's great for game week 12 and then you wildcard 13. So yeah, you're definitely in the right line of thinking there. Trossard game week 13, Trossard game week 12, wildcard 13. Same answer to iClark. He says, sell KDB to Salah or keep the Brownie. I don't know if that's autocorrect or the Brownie. Yeah, I would keep him. I'm planning to make that move in game week 12 myself. Game week 12, I'm going to do De Bruyne to Salah, captain Salah. Hopefully keep Salah for a few weeks if he's doing well, and then maybe move back for De Bruyne for the final 3 game weeks. This is the fixture ticker from game week 13 to game week 16. Obviously, those are the final 4 game weeks after the blank, and then it's the World Cup, and then that's it for 6 weeks, and then we're back on the 26th of December, most likely. Unless, there is a rumour, by the way, that Palace and Brighton's postponement moves to the 21st or 22nd. So we might actually get a double game week 17 straight after the World Cup, which would be a nightmare, actually, because the deadline would be brought forward just for that game. And all the other games will be played 4 or 5 days later, so we wouldn't have press conferences or anything like that. But yeah, these final 3 games here, Leicester, Fulham, Brentford, that'd be a great time to move Salah back to De Bruyne potentially. Ward or Pope as a starting goalkeeper. I'm starting Everson myself. I don't think he's going to play, but you know, Ward's been really, really poor. So maybe he gets a chance. And Leicester have better clean sheet odds this game week. That's what it comes down to for me. So that's why I'm giving Everson the nod. S-Bam says, are you doing World Cup fantasy content? I'm not sure yet. Do you guys want me to do World Cup content? Mr. Super Chat. Sorry, let me scroll up. Hajia says, Guehi for Fofana and Dyer for James for a -4. If you're down to 10 men without bringing a defender in, then yeah, I would take the -4. Because, you know, in your case, it's a -2 hit. Obviously, it could be a -3 or worse if those players can see multiple goals. But yeah, I would make that move if we can't field 11. And I wouldn't count Nico as a playable defender. My gut feel is he'd probably be benched. So yeah, I'd probably make the -4. I don't think Guehi will keep a clean sheet though this week. I like Kilman. I think he's probably got better clean sheet odds this week, home to Forest, whereas Brighton are away to Brentford tonight. Sorry, we're talking about Palace. Palace are away to Leicester, which is a tough fixture. I'd be surprised if they can shut out Leicester. You guys want World Cup content? Okay, I'll have to put the feelers out nearer the time to see if there's an appetite for some World Cup content. I think I'll do a little bit of content, but not as much. I've got a few holidays planned for the break because it's like 6 weeks of no FPL. So yeah, I will do some. To be fair, I probably should because you don't get paid if you're not making videos. So it is a bit of a problem from a YouTuber perspective. First world problems that, but yeah, it's going to be minimal income. I'll make next to nothing during the World Cup. Start Guehi or Trippier? I think you just start Trippier because he's proven this season that he can get returns against any team. You know, we look back at Gameweek 3, scored that free kick against City, 6-pointer, which is like keeping a clean sheet. You know, and that game he got a yellow card and conceded 3, and he still got a 6-pointer. He's got a couple of assists in the last 3, so I think you just start. I think Trippier is almost in that territory where you start him every game regardless, you know. Thoughts on Estepinian? Yeah, he's a really exciting player. Left wing back or left back for Brighton, depending on how they line up. Perhaps a bit of a minutes risk. Potter seemed to have gone off him before he left. Whether that's going to be the case under De Zerbi or not remains to be seen. So yeah, he's the high upside Brighton defender. The safer picks are Webster and Dunk. Start Trippier or Mitrovic? I think I would give Mitro the nod. I've got Andreas first on bench, so in your case Trippier first on bench. I think you give Mitro the nod. The hope is that if he doesn't play, then he's not even in the squad at all, and I get Andreas auto subbed. Yeah, the worst case scenario would be that he's on the bench and comes on, but I don't think they would do that. iClark says, any plans for Fofana? Yeah, I was going to sell Fofana in Gameweek 12. My plan was to roll the transfer up until James's injury. I'm not sure when I will sell Fofana now, because Gameweek 12 I'm probably going to go De Bruyne to Salah and captain Salah. And then Gameweek 13, maybe Maddison to Saka, not sure yet. Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare, all these injuries. This season I brought in Rodrigo, and then he dislocated his shoulder after half an hour. And then I brought in Isak, who got injured straight away. I brought in Mitrovic, who got injured. I brought in Fofana, who got injured, didn't play a minute for me. There's someone else I'm forgetting, but there's a lot of injuries. It's just the way it goes sometimes. And considering that, I'm extremely happy with my rank, because sometimes you just get riddled with injuries, and it's really difficult to get on your front foot, if you know what I mean. Tarek says, Focal, have a great weekend. You too, Tarek. Have a great weekend, Tarek, and everyone else in the chat. Start Tony or Solanke? I'd start Tony. Sackett says dire injury soon. I hope not. Yeah, I've cursed a lot of players that I've brought in. Oh yeah, and also I brought in Trossard, and then he goes and gets... well, it wasn't him personally, but right after I brought him in, his match gets postponed. But I did get 1 goal, 1 assist the game week I brought him in, so that was a really good transfer, to be fair. Yeah, I was on Trossard before it was cool. That was like game week 6 or 7. Carlos says, would you do KDB and more to Kane and Trossard from -4 or save? Are you forced to start more? That's the thing. If you're forced to start more, then I'll take the -4, because I imagine he won't even play with Solanke back now. I can't remember if he's been playing since Solanke's return. I'm just not keen on selling De Bruyne from -4. It feels like that one could go horribly wrong. But I can understand the temptation with Kane. It's a really good fixture. Hasn't blanked since game week 1, which was the week I had him and sold him, by the way. I don't think I'd take a -4 to sell KDB, though. What would you guys do? Would you sell KDB and more for a -4 to Kane and Trossard or save? I'm very hit averse, I have to say. I tend to not make any -4s whenever I can avoid it. Brahm says, "Who is your what is your prediction on who is going to be the highest ranked from the FPL content creators? Rooting for you, bro." You think you have to back Raptor, don't you? It's going to be Raptor. He's like 150th in the world. If last season was the focal season at #1 in the world, then this is the Raptor season. He's doing incredibly well so far. Really nice guy. I chat to him and Harry most days. We're in a group chat together. Next month, the 3 of us are going to the FPL Content Awards. No, Football Content Awards, not FPL. Because we've been nominated for an award. So hopefully I'll bring the award home, because I'm the only person in my category who does FPL content. So I hope to bring it home for the FPL community. I'm nominated for Best New Content Creator. Why Dyer over Brighton defence? Because in my case I need a defender I can start in 13 as well. And Brighton have City away in 13. You know, Nico's got Liverpool. Fofana's injured for me, so... By getting Dyer, it means that I have the option to roll in 13 if I want to. Whereas if I went for someone like Dunk or Webster, then I'd have to make a defender transfer in 13. So I'm just looking a bit further down the line and trying to get ahead of the curve, because it's been a while since I've had 2 transfers banked, and that's where I want to get to again, ideally. Avishek says, ideal replacement for Diaz and James. I've got 2 free transfers. So in my opinion, the best James replacement is Dyer. Unless you don't have Trippier, in which case probably Trippier. I went for Dyer, so that's, you know, I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I went for Dyer. Best Diaz replacement. There's a few. I would say Zaha and Maddison. Either of those look like good replacements. Bowen's a good shout as well. They're honestly all about on par. Yeah, I would say Maddison, Zaha or Bowen. Any of those 3, you can't go wrong really. Zaha has the best fixtures. If we look at Palace's fixtures, you can bring him in and he's good all the way till the World Cup. Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham and Forest. Unless you've got money in the bank, in which case you go up to someone like Son, who's even better. It's worth checking if you can afford that by going something like James down to a Webster, you know, and then upgrading to Son if possible. FPL Penguin in the chat. How was the deadline stream, mate? He says, I'm not expecting us to beat City this Sunday, but I hope Salah hauls and Haaland blanks. Well, I can dream. If anyone doesn't know, FPL Penguin has sold Haaland for Kane. Big transfer, that one. Has he lost the plot, or is it a masterstroke? He's going to be by far the most captain player again. I imagine he'll be around 180% effective ownership, so... It could be a big swing game week for you, Penguin, if that comes off. Bennington reckons you've lost it, Penguin. Shiv says you've lost it as well. It is bold. Master stroke, he says. We'll see. Anyway, we've got about 15 minutes to the deadline. I appreciate you all tuning into this stream so far. It's been a really good one. If you have enjoyed it, hit like. We're just under 1k likes. and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I think we hit 123k subscribers on this stream as well, so thank you for that little milestone as well. Appreciate you all being here for this deadline stream. If anyone's not a member of the fplfocal Discord, I'll chuck a link in the chat. It's a really useful FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes, we've got the lineups, live scores, live points, bonus points, Gameweek stats, injury updates, and then you can pick alerts that you want to receive. So for example, if you wanted to receive the price changes on your phone every night, then you can do that. You can access Discord on your phone or in the browser. And then there's obviously like the live match channel, chat, rate my team, and some other good channels. So I'll chuck that in the chat. De Bruyne to Salah. I'm making that move in Gameweek 12. Not this week, personally. Not for me. I think I'm going to keep De Bruyne this week, and then I'll do De Bruyne to Salah Gameweek 12. And I'll probably captain Salah Gameweek 12. I think he is the best captain option that game week. Tatenda, how are we doing? He says, what are the chances of Mitrovic starting? Silva didn't give much away. This is what he said. He said he's getting better. He did the warm-up and the session today. And the session today was more strategy. Today was the first day that he was involved with the team. This was early today that he said this. After 2 weeks without being with the team. So they're checking him and assessing him. He says it's still soon and they'll check later. So it's really hard to say. Really hard to say. We don't really have enough information to make a fair judgment on whether he's going to start or not. I'm hoping he is, because it's a really good fixture. And for that reason, I'm starting him and hoping that he starts. Because, yeah, I really like the look of Bournemouth at home. But yeah, if he doesn't play, then I'd want him... If he doesn't start, then I want him not to play at all. And then Andreas comes off the bench. Hope that helps. Tatena says I don't like it. He'll likely come on as a sub. It's possible. It's possible. You could argue the case that he could do damage off the bench though, right? Neo Alessandri says, hello Oscar, time traveller here. Haaland blanks, good luck. Oh, time traveller in the chat. We'll remember that one and come back to it if that's correct. And we'll have to ask you for your time traveller predictions every week. Get rid of Nico or Soufal. I think Nico right now. I mean, he's become a big rotation risk. Aurier might start ahead of him this week, and then the fixtures aren't too good after the next two. Liverpool away, Liverpool home, Arsenal away. Remember the name Neo. He's the chosen one. How could Haaland blank, says Mo Osama. Yet to blank this season. It is ridiculous what he's doing. He's making the Premier League look like a farmers' league. The only team he actually didn't score against was Bournemouth back in Gameweek 2. 15 goals and 3 assists in 9 games. Yeah, astonishing numbers. I really hope he can stay injury-free all season, because we really could see something special unfold. How many goals do you think Haaland scores this season? iClark says that, hi Oscar, another time traveller. All the time travellers tuning into my stream. Appreciate that, time traveller gang. He says, Iverson Halls, he saved 2 penalties in a row. I'll take that. I'll happily take 2 saved pens from Iverson. 40 goals, 55 goals. I don't know about that much. What's the all-time record? Is it 32, I think? Golden boot record. There we go. What's the so here we go. Pull it up on our Wikipedia here. So the record's Andy Cole and Alan Shearer, but that was played in a 42 game season. And then in terms of the modern Premier League era, it's Salah with 32, Shearer with 31, Ronaldo with 31, and Suarez with 31. Yeah, he's already on 15, and we're not even halfway through the season, so yeah, it could be a remarkable season unfolding before our eyes. Hope he can go all the way and break it. But that Suarez season, by the way, was just ridiculous. He missed the opening 5 games with suspension because that was when he bit. I think he bit Ivanovic or something. He was suspended for 5 games, and he still went on to score 31 goals. But on top of that, he wasn't on penalties. Gerrard was, and Gerrard scored 9 penalties, if I'm not mistaken. So imagine what could have been that season if he wasn't suspended for 5, if he hadn't bitten someone, and if he was on penalties. That Suarez season could have been honestly the most ridiculous thing ever. Bassett, thank you for the donation. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that very much. 42 goals, 39 goals, 35 to 40. I'd say that sounds about right. 35 to 40. If he can stay injury free. How would you order Solanke and Nico on the bench? Solanke ahead of Nico, 100%. 100%. I'm not sure Nico even starts. Dede says, why Everson? Ward injured. Ward's not injured, it's just on the off chance that Everson gets a chance, because it was another really bad result for Leicester last game week. 2-1 loss to Bournemouth, who are rock bottom in the league for expected goals. Really poor result. Ward wasn't great again. You know, what's Everson got to do to get a nod? Just to get the chance. I believe he was player of the season last season for Preston as well in the Championship. Maybe he's just not convincing at all in training, but I'm starting him just in case Ward does get benched, because Leicester's clean sheet odds are better than Newcastle's, basically. Oh, super chat. Sorry, let me scroll up, Brian. Where was it? Captain Martinelli and back against Haaland. I mean, Martinelli is some shout. I don't know if you saw the experts video for this game week, Brian, but one manager went for Martinelli captain, but the overwhelming majority went for Haaland. In my opinion, Haaland is the best option. I'd say Kane's about on par with Haaland this week, if you've got Kane. Martinelli, I mean, what's the thinking of Martinelli? I don't know if I would go with Martinelli captain, to be honest with you. It's a really big shout. No, I'm not seeing any reason to bet against Haaland. 102 points in 9 games. You know, Martinelli's on just over half that. Yeah, I'm not seeing the reason to bet against Haaland, to be honest with you. Might be overthinking it, especially against Liverpool, who are just leaking goals right now. And historically, as we said at the very start of the stream, it's historically a very high scoring fixture. So I'm not seeing any reason to bet against Haaland right now. LJ Smith says he's not a time traveller, but Welbeck hat-trick tonight, mate. Oh, thank you, LJ. Big shout that. A few people were looking at Mitrovic to Welbeck, actually. Harry says, Haaland captain, no doubt. Make some smart plays. It does feel like the sensible pick this week. Salah or Son in Game Week 12. My plan is to go for Salah. So I've got a bit of cash in the bank now. But I did actually leave myself with enough in the bank back on the wild card, just in case I wanted to go De Bruyne to Salah. And I think I will still go through with that. Salah's obviously not been great in the league, but he did score a hat-trick against Rangers in the Champions League in 6 minutes off the bench. So, yeah, whatever way you look at it, that's a confidence booster for Salah. So my plan is to go De Bruyne to Salah in 12, captain Salah. And then I like the look of their fixtures after that. Salah has Forest in Game Week 13, another good fixture. And then I think it's Leeds in Game Week 14. And then maybe I'll go back to De Bruyne after that. Brian says, I'm trying to catch a break, and I think Liverpool will pull out a big performance. Pride is stung. Maybe. It's just the injuries as well, though, right? They've got Matip out. They've got Trent out. Maybe you could argue that's a good thing, but that's another story. They've got Robertson maybe out. Who knows how they'll line up at the back four. They could potentially have 3 of their favoured back four missing. It really would be a phenomenal performance if they put it together, but even when they're at full strength, historically it's been a very high scoring fixture. So, you know, whatever way you frame it. there was no clean sheets the last 5 times these two have met one another from either team. So it tends to be plenty of goals. So I think we just have to trust that that happens again. And we can always trust Haaland to be involved when there's goals. Yeah, Webster's a good pick, Harry. I like the Webster pick. I wanted him, but the James injury had to change my plans, basically, because Webster's got City in 13, and I can't trust Nico against Liverpool, so I had to get someone that I can at least trust more in Gameweek 13, which is Dyer against Newcastle. Raptor hiding his transfers. Fair enough, it's up to him. Just a shame none of you guys copied me last season, because I got to first in the world and didn't hide my transfers, but that's on you guys. You missed your chance now. I'm never going to get close to that again. I can understand why he's hiding it, but yeah, I don't care about copy transfers, to be honest with you. It doesn't bother me if people copy me. I do think it'd be good if there was some kind of tool where people could just chuck in their league ID and check that no one is copying content creators. Because obviously it's a bit unfair if someone's doing that to win a mini league, especially a cash league. But purely from my perspective, I don't mind if people do it, but I can understand situations like that where it'd be a problem. I think someone will make a tool though. I did message a couple of FPL developers who were looking into it. Pope or Raya? Let's have a look at the clean sheet odds. Pope or Raya? I imagine Raya's got better clean sheet odds. Brentford at 24%, Pope 17%. So I would just back the clean sheet odds and go Raya. Just a few minutes left. Keep your questions coming in, and thank you for 1k likes on this stream. I appreciate you guys very, very much. It's going to be a very busy schedule. As we were saying earlier, there is Premier League football for 9 of the next 11 days. Tonight just 1 game. Tomorrow there's 4 games. Sunday we got 5 games. Nothing on Monday. Tuesday 2 games. Wednesday 5. Thursday 2 games. Nothing on Friday. And then it's Gameweek 13 next weekend. So tons of football. Do you guys like it when it's this busy? Or do you prefer it when it's a bit less hectic? I personally don't mind it, but what's going to be tough is keeping the upload schedule up for this run, because as you guys know, I normally do 4 videos every game week. I do who to buy, I do my team selection, I do the experts, and I do the preview. But right now we've got 3 game weeks in the next week, so it's going to be a challenge to maintain that schedule. I might have to sacrifice the preview video for game week 12 and do the others, because it's going to be impossible otherwise. This game week 11 ends on Sunday, and then game week 12 starts on Tuesday, so it's such a short turnaround. Ollie says you're the Donny Oscar. Appreciate that, Ollie. FPL Donny. You guys like the busy schedule? Harry says he loves it when it says busy. Andy says busier the better. Looney Luke says much busier, much better like this. Biz Hunter says don't ask. Yeah, I quite like it. I like it when there's lots of football on. Captain Son is a differential. We'll do one final look at the projected points, which is from FPL Review. Son is second, so I don't mind him as an alternative to Haaland, but for me, I think it's still very bold to bet against Haaland. He's not blank this season, and he's given us no reason to move the armband off him. There is obviously a lot of upside in betting elsewhere, but it depends on your risk tolerance, what kind of manager you are. Not for me. I'm not the kind of manager that would bet elsewhere when the overwhelming majority of the game are going to be on Haaland captain. Jetty Stu loves it when it's busy. Noctambuli says it's great, quicker transfers. I recognise that name as well. We were talking earlier about names I recognise, and Noctambuli is definitely one. Yeah, that's it. When the schedule's this busy, you can move up the ranks fast as well. So that's another way of looking at it. You can move down fast, but yeah, the aim is always to move up the ranks fast. So this is my team. Let me just double check it as locked in and saved and so on. Looks good. Haaland captain. De Bruyne vice. So yeah, if anyone missed it, my transfer was James to Dyer. I was going to roll the transfer this week if you saw my team selection video, but obviously James is out potentially all the way to the World Cup. So I had to sell James, so it's Dyer that joined my team. Ross says locked. Edvin says locked. Cannon Fodder says locked. Abdella says Kane captain, let's go. That is it. That's the deadline, guys. Oh, we made it. That flew by. That was an hour and a half. Yeah, thanks as always, guys, for tuning into these deadline streams. I hope you enjoy all the content I put together for them. I always spend a good hour or two before each stream just putting together some talking points, content to talk about, graphics for you guys. So let's have a look. Is there anyone that we can raid? Who's live? Who should we raid? Any suggestions who to go raid? FPL Focus. FPL Focus, not Focal.
Fantastic game week. Let me know. Follow me on Twitter. Send me some messages.
Don't know if he's about to finish his stream or not, though.
FPL lives, he loves it. All right.
No, he's done. Who do we raid? FPL. Or no raid this week. Any suggestions who to raid? Oops. Sorted by upload date. Want to go by who's live. What have I done here? Relevance. Live. Planet FPL. Planet FPL? Yeah, let's do Planet FPL. James is a legend. I might be seeing him this weekend, actually. There's a Team South football match. So I'm going to be on trial this weekend for...
I love it, though.
hopefully for the North East South game at the end of the season. There we go. We'll head over to Planet FPL. Tell them Focal sent you. See you over there at Planet FPL. Thank you as always, guys, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hit like before you go and subscribe if you're not already. Focal out.